will fall, from the ashes I will call. Hear the crackle, feel the spark, a burning heart in the deepest dark. Raise your hands, ignite the sky. We live, we burn, we never die. I am fire, I am storm, a raging heart forever warm. Let the world be turned to gold, in the heat my story's told. I am fire, I am free, the flame of fate burns wild in me. Let it rise from the ground to the endless skies. Let it rise, we are the light that never dies. I am fire, I am storm, a raging heart forever warm. Let the world be turned to gold, in the heat my story's told. I am fire, I am free, the flame of fate burns wild in me. Got a sky in my chest and thunder veins. I walk where the wind forgets your name. Boots full of mud, but I don't slow down. Storm in my blood, I own this ground. Rivers rage, but I don't drown. Lightning follows where I'm bound. My soul's been carved from twisted bark. I howl at dusk, I shine in dark. I'm a storm heart born to break, roaring wild in heaven's wake. Torn and tattered, still I ride with the thunder by my side. Storm heart never tame, whispers rain and curses flame. Won't hold, I burn through lies they try to mold. Cold steel eyes and a voice like hail, I raise my song on a cyclone's trail. I'm a storm heart born to break, roaring wild in heaven's wake. Torn and tattered, still I ride with the thunder by my side. Storm heart never tame, whispers rain and curses. Let the cold wind tear my skin. I was made to ride through sin. Dust on my cold steel in my glance. I ain't here for a second chance. Ooh, ooh. I'm a storm hard to hold, while the thunder carved in gold. Tumbling, breathing, bold and dry, I don't beg, I burn the sky. They laid me down in a bed of cold, dust in my mouth, no light, no soul. But roots don't die in a world gone cold. I drank the dark and I grew bold. The wind it wept, the ground it groaned. My name was lost, my skin was bone. But in that grave I found my form, not dead, just ash reborn. like smoke, I ride the flame, no longer bound, no longer tame. From broken stone and splintered thorn, I am the fire, ash reborn. They spoke in fear, said I was cursed, but I was forged in something worse. Their crosses burned, their prayers fell short. I walked through hell and needed naught. Now I wear flame like a Sunday dress, scarred but smiling, nothing less. The past can haunt, but it can't warn a soul like mine, ash reborn. I rise like smoke, I ride the flame, no longer bound, no longer tame. From broken stone and splintered thorn, I am the fire, ash reborn.
Oh, do you know what? I nearly timed that perfectly with Spotify then. It's gone now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in. Do you know what?
You turned the music off then.
I've turned the music off. I nearly had it perfectly, but I couldn't move the mouse quick enough. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 10. Andy, episode 10.
Oh, no. How? How have we got there? How have we done it?
Don't know. Because everyone's as mad as we are. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it kind of suits. It is the industry we've chosen to go for.
Yeah, and good evening, Jordan.
Good evening.
Good evening. As you can see, tonight we're joined by Jordan, the keeper, breeder and driving force behind PeculiarPetsLtd. Jordan's known for his grounded, no-nonsense approach to exotic animal keeping, sharing a real realities of working with reptiles, invertebrate and lesser-kept species here in the UK. The episode isn't about hype or trends, it's about experience, responsibility, and what exotic keeping and retail actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. Jordan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, we've got loads to cover tonight. I can't, we tried to keep it to an hour, but I really don't think we're going to do the hour tonight. So if you do need to get off quick, by all means say. If you need to get off, just say, lads, I've got to go. Because honestly, there's so much that I want to touch on.
That's fine.
But then again, as we said before, we don't cover it all. We could have people back. It keeps things interesting. Things change over the months as well. So opinions, what we've learned, education, all of that. And obviously, we'll touch on this properly later, but the initiative you're starting, that's at the early stages. In 6 months, where that'll be, it'll be something really interesting to cover as well.
Yeah, I'll probably had a nervous breakdown back then.
You know what? I think we all have one of those daily.
But do you know what? It's a nice place to start that. That would be a very warranted nervous breakdown, Jordan. Because how long have you had the shop?
7 years now.
So in 7 years, the fact that you haven't had a breakdown is medal deserving.
That matter.
Medal deserving. So I think this is a really good place to start. So obviously you own and run Peculiar Pets up the road. So you're a northern lad, and you've had your fair share of natural disasters to contend with, haven't you?
Yeah, so, natural and unnatural, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, what was and anyone who's seen the love this lad to death. Good evening, Chaz. Chaz is in the chat. So I was just about to send people your way, Chaz. Actually, so I did some homework this week and I watched was it Shop Talk or Retail Time or whatever it was.
Chaz does. Shop interview. Yeah,
shop interview. So if you haven't seen that, we're going to touch on a few of those things tonight, but I don't want to dive too deep into it.
Actually, touching on the shop interview stuff, Lewis from Reptile Crib says sorry he can't be here, by the way.
Oh.
He's got to work. He's got to work late, but he's going to catch up on it later. And he did ask me to pass on his apologies.
Perfect.
Oh, I suppose it's all right.
So
I just told him he was a prick for it.
I did some homework and I watched the shop talk with Chaz from Snakes and Adders. So if you want a much more in-depth conversation on some of the things we're going to talk on, please do go and check that out and give some likes and thumbs up there as well. So one of the things that I picked up is the amount of shit you put up with. Like, seriously. The fact that you're still going is incredible.
It's followed me now for this will be 18 years now in the pet trade. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're still standing.
Somehow. Well, I'm sat, actually. It's too much effort.
You get what I mean.
I think go on.
I was just going to say, we don't like to ask people, how did you get into reptiles? Because everyone's covered that thousands of times.
Yeah.
But the question we ask is, what led you to where you are today? So, like, 18 years ago, getting into the reptile trade, that's a good place to start.
Well, the answer to a lot of my how did you start questions is Chaz. So, yeah. So 23 years ago, 24 years, some years ago, I got my first snake off Chaz, and then over the years after that was a customer and whatnot, and then started helping him out on Saturdays and sort of, it's all right, this, working in a shop, play with snakes all day. You were wrist deep in poo, but you were playing with snakes. So it was like, swings and roundabouts. And sort of bit by bit, and then it was like, if a lad called Danny used to work for him, it was like, oh, Danny can't make it, can you just sort us that snake feed or something, just something quick. And at 15, 16, it was like, I'm in a real life reptile shop now, and I'm like allowed to touch things. So that kind of then led into, well, just sort of hanging around, or, if it was busy, do you want hand bagging up substrate, do you want that doing? And then when Chaz moved to Sheffield, or moved back to Sheffield rather, the shop opened 2 doors down with the previous manager of Snakes and Adders, and I got the weekend job there, and sort of bit by bit became manager. And then sort of towards the end of that, as sort of running the shop, basically, the lease was ending, so they were closing the shop down. And I thought, well, I've done this now for 10 years properly, and then a couple of years helping Chaz out and stuff. And I thought, well, what am I actually going to do? And the thought of working like a real job was horrifying. I just thought, I cannot do, because I can't do the whole like targets and I couldn't have a Monday morning meeting. It'd kill me.
No, they're horrible. I don't do them either.
It's that kind of, and I thought, I'm just not built for that world. And I'd been maybe a month or two unemployed, and I thought, well, I can look for nothing. So I started sort of looking for shops and stuff like that, and we found this porky little postage stamp size thing in Heckman White, and we only lived about 15 minutes down the road. So I was like, well, we'll go have a look. And we walked in, it was just an empty room, fresh paint on the walls. It was something and nothing, and it was just like, we could afford to do this, so did. And the first 5 years in there were hard. Like it was a horrible little shop. We filled it floor to ceiling with everything. Like there was stock upon stock upon stock, and all that. And it worked out, and it got us to kind of the shop that we're in now. But yeah, looking back on it, I'd had to find an invoice when I went to get my pancake tortoises back from a local zoo, and I had to find an invoice from years ago, and I found one of my original invoices from like the first 3 weeks we were open, and I remember struggling to pay it, and it was 180 quid. And I thought, I cannot believe, now I wouldn't think twice about, order that or whatever. And I thought, actually, yeah, that's quite good. 7 years, and I thought, yeah, we've done the right thing there. But yeah, it was just a case of, I could not think of anything that I would suit doing better than something I'd already been doing. So I started and then built it from there, really. And then someone drove through the front of it. So
that was what introduced me to your shop the first time, actually. Was obviously I'd seen the name around, but when that happened, it was like, oh shit. Yeah. Let's pay attention, because this is something quite big. And obviously you were quite, it was bad. But it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
No, not for the animals. For the building, horrendous. On the night there were 3 animals unaccounted for, and we just assumed they were in the rubble sort of thing. And then about 3 weeks later, a rep had come up to see me, just to make sure I'd not, curled up in a corner. And I says, "Oh, we'll nip into the other shop because I want to speak to you about having the vivs replaced." Because at that point we were still hopeful that the insurance would pay out within a few weeks. So we'd gone in, we were measuring up, and this blue-tongued skink just walked out into the middle of the floor. I was like, "I've been looking for that." And then as I looked, the 2 baby water dragons we were missing were sat basking on the boards at the front of the shop. So ran over and grabbed these tiny little lizards, bundled them back. So then everyone was accounted for again. They had 3 weeks.
Lose anything. You didn't lose anything.
Over the following couple of months, we did. So we had, ironically, we had our biggest breeding season that year.
Oh, great.
And so I ended up, while we were closed, because obviously we had to feed all these lovely babies that we were making, we had at one point, I think, 60-something baby bearded dragons, which obviously was costing a fortune in food. And some of them had hatched. Some of them were in the incubator when we moved, and they just failed. We sort of get them to a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and you just see them look rough, or they'd just randomly drop overnight. I think the beardies were about the only thing that was really hit, and I think it was just because they hatched that night, and we were then unplugging them, ragging them around, stuff got knots, they were moved again and all that kind of thing, and I think it was just too much for them that way. But after that initial couple of weeks, everyone was fine then. So, yeah.
No, that's great news. It could have gone either way as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the car hit the vivs in the window.
Oh, jeez.
So there was... It wasn't in the window sort of thing, but as the car went through the door and then through the side of the window, it hit the stack of 3-foot vivs that had, there was a couple of young beardies, there was ocellated skinks, they were everywhere. We were finding them all over.
They are quick.
They were all over the floor, wrapped up in rubble and broken, and it was just like, Christ. And a pictus gecko, and that pictus ended up biting, I think, 4 firemen and me. It's this big male, good 4.5 inch thick, and he was an absolute bulldog. And the fire brigade were petrified. They thought that there were going to be venomous snakes everywhere, and instead they were catching 2.5 inch ocellated skinks. And he was hanging off a glove, and the fireman was like, "I think this one's yours." I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, it was a very strange night, it really was. But
I can imagine the phone call you got when you first heard of it. Your heart must have sunk.
I was in the bath.
Oh God.
One of my customers lived local, and I'd heard my phone buzz like Messenger, and I thought, I'll get that in a minute. But then it started ringing through Messenger. I cannot stand the Messenger ringtone. It makes my teeth hurt. And it started, and I thought, why would Steve be ringing me? So as I wet hands, I thought, I'll get it in a second. And then it buzzed again and again, and I thought, what is up with him? So I'd opened it, and it was just a picture of this mangled shutter, and I was like, cool. And then I was like, oh shit, that's mine. So I messaged him, I was like, I'm on my way. But because it was so bent, it didn't look like my shop. So we kind of packed up, shipped out, and then by the time we got there, quite a good number of our customers were already stood outside. Some of them had come from Bramley, which is about half an hour away towards Leeds, and stuff like that, and they were all there right through till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I think we went home at, I think it was 4:45. I got in bed, and then I woke back up at 6:45 because I was just wired. I was like, I need to get up and do something. And I was like, ring insurance and do this and find out what we're doing with this, and it was just a nightmare.
It was a drunk driver, wasn't it?
No.
No?
Nope. Just an idiot.
He almost wish he was a drunk driver at that point. Then
we said that. Well, if he was drunk, you could understand it. Instead, he was just stupid. There were 2 cars involved, but only one of them was still at the scene, and they'd sped around a van that was turning right, and then lost control and ended up hitting. They sort of went into my shop door, through the wall, into the hairdresser's next door, and back out of the hairdresser's door. So like a big U-turn through a building. And just sort of bent the shutters. They didn't remove the shutters. They just bent them and ploughed through them. So when I got there, the police were doing something with the car. And this police officer stopped me. She's like, I need your name. I was like, you really don't. Like, that's my shop. Just let me get started. And she's like, no, I need your name. And I was like, well, I need to speak to someone. There's animals in there. I need to know what's wandering around on the floor. And she was like, well, we're going to cut the drivers out of the car first. And mouth before brain, I was like, leave them. Let's go sort the animals out. And she looked at me like it was the most horrendous thing she'd ever heard. And I just thought, I can't speak to you right now. So when we found the fire brigade, they were brilliant. To be fair, they were really funny and it helped. They were just so light-hearted. Like I said, they were
a lot of them are ex-forces as well, on the whole. So they just have such a dry, dark humour that goes with them. That it's the only way you can deal with any disaster.
Yeah. No, they were brilliant. And the fact they were all scared of 3-inch lizards was just that right.
Just made it even better.
Yeah.
Big burly firefighter, little lizard, no.
Yep. And then we had the following day, a couple of like online newspaper type things got hold of it. And there was a story that circulated that there were 250 snakes loose in Heckmondwike. We didn't lose a single snake. They were at the back of the shop. At that point there was 2 6-inch water dragons and a 9-inch blue tongue skink. So yeah,
and that's
not
the fear mongering we get from the press, though, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Which leads on to part of the problem. Yeah,
people ate it up as well. Like, people genuinely thought that we just walked away. What was gone, and all this. And thankfully, our customers are about as mouthy as I am, so it very quickly got kind of put back the other way.
Good.
Someone's head rolled over that one.
There's a couple of shouts out in the chat for you, Jordan. So, hey Jordan, it's Yaz. Yaz is here for you.
Hi.
She's on her dog's YouTube, and Ryan says it's a clever dog. He's never seen a dog use YouTube before. Lizard Killer, my son's beard, came from Jordan. Best money he's ever spent. Quality dragon. And I saw another one from Salmon Nat, was it? Salmon Nat, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There you go. So
Lewis has shown his face as well. I thought you weren't going to come in, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is there, and Caitlin King says they remember the cat rash like it was yesterday.
Yeah, so Caitlin was first on the scene.
Well done, Caitlin. So then moving on from that, like, it was plain sailing for you then, wasn't it? No more issues, no natural disasters.
When we moved back in, the following that was stupid. When we moved back in, we moved in the December. The following October, someone took the back window off the shop to steal £6 in change.
Amazing. And was this before or after the flood?
Oh no, the flood was years prior. So the flood was in
Flood was first. The flood was first.
Yeah. So the flood was 2015. So it was 3 years before I opened, and it was Boxing Day, and I was on my own in the shop, and I was sort of sat at the counter because it had been really quiet for a couple of hours. Sort of sat there like that. I thought, water doesn't normally run down that road. That's a bit weird. And then my other half worked at Card Factory up the road, which was like next to the river that had overflowed. Yeah. And he showed me like the stock room was just like in at 6 inches of water by this point. I was like, that's quite bad, that. I really don't know what to do with this information. So I'd rung the owner, and he lived all of about 10 minutes from the shop. 45 minutes later, because he'd had to drive into Leeds city centre to get ahead of the water to come back around the other side. And then we were there. I think we went home about 1-ish. They said that the water would peak at about 11:30. And it did. It was the weirdest thing to watch. It was just this like hump of water, and then it was gone. And it dropped feet in minutes, and then it was just this little trickle behind it. The weirdest thing. Yeah, and watching like park benches, it's pub benches rather, floating down the road, and the bread cages from Morrison's.
Yeah.
One of them had made its way down the road. And the canoe without the person in the canoe is still my favourite part of that evening. No one died. We double checked that no one died that evening, so we could laugh about the canoeless, the peopleless canoe. But yeah, it was just we're all stood there like that. It was just kind of yeah, strangest evening I've ever had. That it was odd. And we were eating, and there was a really nice burger place up the road. So when it got to about 10 o'clock, we're like, look, the shop's sealed up. All the animals are off the floor, like, we've just got to see what happens. So we went up to the burger place, come back, and all the electric had gone off, apart from one plug that had an Arcadia Jungle Dawn plugged into it. And this was like when Jungle Dawns were like, brand new. And we turned it upside down, and it illuminated a 450 square foot room. So like, they're proper good then.
They're proper good. Well done, Jungle Dawn.
Yeah.
So you have seen your fair share of obstacles to
disasters.
Yeah, just a couple, yeah.
And you're still doing it?
Yeah.
I know why. I know why though.
Do you enjoy it though? Do you enjoy the mayhem?
To a point. I have a threshold. And then apparently I become dramatic, and and then I have to be calmed down. So Kieran, that works for me, who bought me this wonderful little T-shirt for Christmas.
I saw that on Instagram earlier. That's fantastic.
Yeah. He's got one as well. Like, he didn't just get this for me. He's got yeah. If I'm getting to that point, he'll just sort of stand next to me and be like, calm down. You don't talk to me like that. Cool. Yeah, and then I'm all right then. But I sometimes have to just peek, have a little moment, and then we're fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's Nicola my partner has a go at me for it. I cope my best when I'm under the heaviest pressure. So if it's all going smoothly, I just cruise. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, I can pull anything out of the bag.
Yeah, I quite like that as well. It's like on the nights of the disasters, the many disasters, it was like, especially with the car crash, the flood was a little bit more shocking because it was just so out of nowhere, and that wasn't my shop either, so it was kind of a little bit less personal. But on the night of the crash, like, people kept saying, "Are you all right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, no, but are you all right? Like, are you really okay? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, what we're gonna do about it? Like, I've rung the insurance. We'll catch everyone up, move everyone out. And yeah, I think people thought that I was just about to explode and didn't. Yeah. I was just like, oh well, here we go again. So
I'm trying to pull bits from the interview you did with Charles. Was there a period where you didn't have an AAL as well?
Yeah.
I'll just keep them coming for everyone. I'll just keep them coming.
I forgot about that. Yeah, so we made the champion decision to open like the week that the AAL went live. So my application was in. No, I tell you, I'd said to the council, can I apply for a PSL? And then when the AAL comes in, I will just transition over like that. And they says, no, we're not doing any more applications, so you have to wait for the AAL. I was like, all right, fair enough. Well, that was, when did we open? So we opened August. So January, they finally came and did my inspection. So there were animals reserved, but we didn't take a deposit because it was like, that constitutes a sale as far as I'm concerned. So it was like, people had animals just sat in my shop. No money had changed hands. And they were also, how's it going? And I was like, I hadn't heard a word. I've heard nothing for weeks. And then panicked myself stupid about, oh my God, what we're going to do this inspection. And Annika from the council could not have been more lovely. She was so nice to work with. And we went through and we did it, and then it was sorted. But like, you were talking nearly 3 months by the time we finally got around to being able to sell animals.
And that was your most profitable day ever afterwards, yeah?
Yeah, it was quite good actually. Yeah, it was that weekend was suddenly everyone was like, right, I can come and collect it. So having sat on it and fed it, at least it was like, it's all moving. But yeah, and the AAL, it was confusing from the start. and
It's no better now, though.
No. Although I,
Oh dear.
They changed something after my application as well. So the license I applied for and the standards and stuff had already changed within the first 8 weeks, and it had all gone under review and done that. So I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing now. So I signed up for a Pet Industry Federation course in pet shop management, I think it was. It was basically a course in guinea pig care, with this tiny little section on reptiles, and it was about 700 quid or 600 quid, and I thought, what? And I had 18 months to complete it, but to begin with, it was worded in such a way that you had to have it as one of the basic standards.
Yeah.
So I panicked and paid all this money out for it, and then they changed that and said, no, it's only for the higher standard. So I'd had 2 email exchanges with the Pet Industry Federation and wanted a refund, and they offered me back 2/3 of it, I think it was, or 3/4 of it. So it cost me something like 150, 200 quid to send 2 emails. I was just like, that's the most ridiculous thing. And then, yeah, there's a lot of other things with AAL I just don't think are worth it, but got to do it.
We're stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's method to my madness in talking about all these natural disasters, man-made disasters, and politics at play with AL and stuff like So one of my driving forces behind the podcast and what we're trying to achieve is to try and sort of build some bridges within the community, the wider community, between different species of different breeders who breed different species. I mentioned to you earlier that I'm predominantly a Royal Python breeder, and we are pretty much the black sheep of the community as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of controversy around the racks, etc., so on and so forth. So what's your thoughts on the community? So I know what you said with Chaz on Reptile Talk. Are you still of that mindset? Do you want to sort of touch on that, where you think the community is?
I think excuse me, sorry. I think my opinion of the trade community is different. I've never had so many friends in the trade as the last couple of years, and that's quite nice. But I think the hobby is still very much kind of separate paving slabs on the same path, sort of thing. And it is, and like I said on the thing with Chaz, the extremes of it will never agree.
No.
And the middle ground is where it needs expanding. So like we use racks in the shop now, shooters. But we've gone through and we now have loads of like, so there's a wood called Talawa wood, and it's like these really funky little kind of twisted twigs and stuff. Yeah. So we shoved a load of that, and we use a bit of fake greenery, and we use slightly deeper substrates and stuff like that. And Kieran went through and did it all, and I was like, cool. And then we now see perching and things like just little tiny things. And I think the extreme of rat keeping or royal breeding or ball python breeding, that's where the issue lies. When you've got a box with butcher's paper, a pre-molded water bowl with a cup in it, and nothing else, and then this 2.5 kilo obese snake sat at the back of it looking like it wants you to just take it outside and end it, that's my issue with rat keeping.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and
I keep racks.
So the reason I touched on that is because I think one of the divides also lies between hobbyist breeders and the trade, the shops. Because obviously I can see you sat on your gold throne with your gold watches and Armani shades. You know, you're obviously raking it in, aren't you?
That's actually gold.
Is it? So what I mean,
it's got a Gucci label in the back, yeah?
No, so like,
I think it's Gucci written in Chinese, maybe.
Gucci Chinese. No, the point was, like, there is that divide where people think that the shops are raking it in. But if we take the first 20 minutes of this conversation, like, all those natural disasters, yes, there was some insurance money that covered it, and you got something back, like you just said about the course. But I bet you didn't. I bet you still had to dip into your pockets to feed animals, to clean animals, to heat animals. You know, so like,
I mean, I think because I bred at home while working in a shop, and then sold my animals to the shop I worked in, I had kind of better view of that kind of relationship. Because if Matt had turned around and says, I'll give you a tenner, and I went, don't be so stupid, it's, you know, it's this, we'd have had the discussion. But you can do that with someone that you're friends with. It's not like walking into a shop that you're fresh and going, well, I want 40 quid, and they go, well, I can get them for 20. And it seems to end the conversation there. And I think my biggest kind of thing I noticed with the divide is the kind of blacklisting on both sides. Is like, you know, you should never buy from a shop, or bedroom breeder is bad. Well, my snakes were in my bedroom and they were all right. You know, some of them now are in my bedroom and stuff like that. So it's like, I think again, it's the extreme, but the middle ground is gone. I buy off my customers all the time. We got some gorgeous ocellated skinks the other day off a customer that comes in pretty much every week, and he brings me a litter at a time, and they're all wonderful little things. And he swaps them for a bit of frozen. It's, you know, he's got a lot of snakes, so it's not a bit of frozen. And it is, I think, once you have a relationship with customers, or even slightly further afield breeders, like me and Canned, which I know we mentioned earlier. So Canned at Welsh Morphology. Hi, if you're not asleep. She did say she'd probably be asleep.
Yeah, I saw that.
She breeds some fantastic animals, and she buys an awful lot of animals off me as well. And most of the time, we don't pay each other, because one of us has got an animal on reserve already with the other one. So by the time we get round to wanting something else, it just becomes this nice big swap shop. But she breeds some really, really weird and wonderful stuff, and some high-end hog noses as well, which is kind of cool. And it means that I can stock really odd things, or I can try something, because she'll be, oh, well, yeah, I'll send it over. Decide what you want to get for it. We'll work out a price later. And it's not worrying that she's going to leave the country or I'm going to... And that kind of relationship's quite rare, I think. Yeah. And then we have kind of further afield breeders that we're not necessarily as friendly with, but the relationship still works. It's very much, I've got these, are you interested? No, no worries, I'll chat to you in a couple of months. And we just have like a few chats a year and make sure no one's stuck with anything. And then between the shops now, we move stock between about 6 of us now in the area, where if I've bought a full clutch of something, they'll go, right, well, I'll take 2 off you, and I'll take 2 off you, and I'll take 2 off you. So then I've only got 4 of them, sort of thing, not the initial 10. And that's worked really, really well. And it's meant we can sort of work with more breeders, because we don't have to say, well, I literally want 1. We can go, actually, I'll take that many. Earlier in the year, end of last year rather, someone approached me with some white tree frogs they'd bred. Fantastic quality little frogs. Whites are always great sellers, and they were lovely little snowflakes. And he was like, you know, I can do you a good discount because I've obviously got a lot of them. I was like, I want 10. Like, I literally just want 10. You know, they eat so much and all that kind of thing. So I messaged around, and by the time we were done, I think we ended up buying 60 off him, which was then better for him, and it made it worth the trip and all this kind of thing. Yeah. So that's been a nice way to do it, is that because we're a bit more of a community, we can kind of dip more of a toe into the hobby again. But it always rubs me the wrong way with the hobby breeder thing. I breed a lot of my animals in store, and I have bred a lot of animals over the years, and it's one thing I really enjoy doing is I actually breed corn snakes. I know, it's gross, and I will never not breed corn snakes. I have a female here that I hatched in 2011, and she's never leaving. She'll never breed again, but she's never leaving. Since she was, you know, well, I've had her since she was a glint in her dad's eye, really. And I'll never get bored of breeding corn snakes. I don't care what colour they are either. I would happily hatch 100 normal corn snakes. But that kind of, we should buy from a breeder. Well, hi. Like, we bred them. We breed Amazon tree boas and stuff like that. And no one seems to quibble the Amazon tree boas. But if when I breed my box turtles or something like that, Chelonian keeping world is incredibly anti-shop and you should only buy from breeders, well, I bred them. So what are you going to do with that one? And I think it's a weird one. I think when the prices bottomed many years ago and you could get like Mexi Blacks for $5, like the good old days, I think that's what broke the kind of working relationship a little bit, because people thought the trade was out to rob them, but the problem was there were 2 clutches before you that offered us them for $5 because they were sick of feeding them, or they couldn't shift them on at the shows, or and it was a weird one, and it seemed to sort of push everyone apart then, because shops had to find stock because breeders no longer approached them. But then breeders were selling privately for less than we could buy them for, which then meant, well, shops are out to rip you off. It's like, well, if you want us to buy your stock, drop your price a touch so we can match it, and then everyone's a winner. The chain continues again. And we see a lot less of that now, I think. I think it's a lot easier to buy off private keepers than it used to be.
I think the problem is, with that, a lot of people look at the price of the shops. They look at the price that you buy them for. They don't understand what's involved and why the markup has to exist. Because at the end of the day, if I sell you an animal for £40, odds are you're going to put it up for 80. But you've got to keep your lights on. You've got to keep the viv running. You've got to feed them. That animal might be with you for 6 months. We don't know at this point. You might be lucky and it goes the next day and you've made full profit. Or you're stuck with it for 6 months and you've actually made a loss. Yeah. And that's the side of where hobbyist breeders lose touch with the trade side of it. Because 90% of what I breed, I only sell to shops. We haven't got an AAL yet. It is something on the cards. But also, I can't stand the general public, personally. I've worked in coffee shops and things like that, and I am not a people person. I can deal with a couple of people here and there, but put me in a big group of people, and I'm not going to hold it together. I say what I think. I'm a tradie. I'm a truck mechanic. That is my background for the last 20-odd years. I don't have a filter on the whole. Yeah. So where we're working with the animals, I prefer to sell to a shop, because I might sell that privately. Say I've got a Yeti hognose, for example. I've got a couple of Yetis. I could sell that privately for $350 at the moment with the way the market is. Or I could sell it to a shop for $150, $175. Yeah. But I might have to feed it for a few months whilst I wait for the public to come to me. Yeah. Or I get the money tomorrow from the shop. Mm-hmm. And you've got to look at it as a business when you're doing it like that. If you're only breeding one animal, that's fine. Hang on to it. Yeah. But I've got 10 at the moment. I'm hoping they'll drop in the next sort of 6 weeks. I haven't got space to keep holding on to things. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where people fall down on it, in my opinion. And that's where the divide has come in, that people can't see the reality of, this is what it costs. Yeah. And this is what it costs. Because there are 2 prices to everything. There is trade and there is retail.
I've got 2 pet shops on my books as such. Yeah. And depending on the retail value, I ask between 20 and 35% of their retail value. So it's and like they tell me what it's worth. I don't say to them, I want this. I'll say, look, 20. If it's a cheaper animal that they sell cheaper, I'll ask for like 20% ish, give or take. And it might be a case of like I have too many of them, so they end up getting like 12 or whatever. You know, it's not like they get like a set number. It's like or if it's a higher valued animal, I'll ask for that a little bit more just because it's that little higher value. But like Andy, I think 80-90% of my stock this year went to retail just because I don't have to deal with anyone. And I'm not keeping them, I'm not feeding them, I'm not heating them. That's your guys' job.
Just so lucky.
That's your guys' job. I will
that's
say
why you charge what you charge.
But that's the reality of it, is like we're in that position to be able to offer these animals at a really attractive price. Where like if I don't have to feed it and I don't have to keep it, like I see I'm quids in because I'm getting the enjoyment from the hobby. I'm helping you guys, which are on the front line. You know, when little Timmy decides he wants a snake, he's not coming to me. He's coming to you. You are the people that are essentially allowing that next generation or that next level of keeper to experience it and get the right advice. And that's...
But there's another way of putting that for them. They're also the people who are the cannon fodder and the front line of defence to everything at the same time.
Yeah. But that's what's important. And like, I'm glad to hear that the retail communities come together for you. Nice. Because I could hear it in your voice and I could see in your expressions when you were talking to Chaz that it was a real gripe, a real grumble, because it doesn't need to be there. There's plenty pie for everyone.
No, that was it. It's existed for a long time, and I grew up in a shop that was very isolated. Everyone was out to get us, and that sort of mentality, and that was from the owner. And to be honest, in the early years of it, kind of was like that. Like, people really did go after each other, and I think that stuck with me for quite a long time. And then when I got my own, sort of initially sat thinking, well, who do I actually talk to? Like, you can't trust anyone. They're all out to get you. And then it took time, but after a while I was kind of like, oh, well, they've just rung me for that. And they were fine, you know. Yeah. So there'll always be shops that'll never get on. There'll always be breeders that don't like other breeders. There'll always be shops that don't, you know, sort of thing. But, of course there is. And a lot of it now, I'm not interested.
No. 100%. Like, I'm not trying to chase or create drama here. The point, like, I want to see a united hobby industry, however you want to name it or class it, because if we can't all sing off the same hymn sheet, then what hope?
We might as well all pack up, get rid of the animals, and forget about the whole thing in the first place.
You know,
because it just feeds into it all.
Look at the trouble Scotland are going through right now. You know, they are in the thick of it. And the minute something like that passes in Scotland, Wales, Ireland, it ain't going to be long. You know,
I think a lot of people think that the problems in Scotland at the minute are like further away than they actually are.
No,
like when we hear about whitelists in like Norway or whatever, you think, that's Europe, and I don't know.
It's that's the other side of the ocean.
Yeah. Whereas because a couple of customers have mentioned, you know, when we've shared this and they've sort of said, oh, like, what's that going on in Scotland? And I said, oh, yeah, but it won't happen here. And you realise it's the same island, right? Yeah. Like, we have the same government essentially as well. So
it's the same government over us all. They might have, you know, Scotland might have a small independent thing that looks after them initially, but they are still governed by the same legislation and laws that we are. And that's one of the things.
I'm in Oxfordshire and Scotland's 6 hours from me. It's only 6 hours away, this problem. Yeah. When you break it down like that, and you guys are up north, it's probably, 2-3 hours from some of you.
Yeah.
The reality is, when you put it into a time rather than anything else, it isn't that far.
House Bugs says, Shalonian hobby being confrontational. Blasphemy, sir. Citizen Nat, they also say that about tarantulas. House of Bugs, Andy, preach, sir. General public are awful. Citizen Nat, but then my reason is I don't want randomers coming to my house. 100%. Let them go to the shops. Fully aware of that.
There are some weirdo randomers out there.
Yeah. Critters made Natalie from Critters then made Andy put LED lights in the racks before he was allowed to use them. They've got lots of tricolours now.
We got a lot of tricolours, and I've got 2 more clutches to hatch.
Yaz says, I don't want reptile weirdos knowing where I live.
They don't come much weirder than you, though.
Can't argue with that.
Blue Reptiles UK. Selling to shops is so much easier, but I also trade for animals. I pick up so many species through trades with shops that I rarely buy animals from private sellers anymore. Fantastic. Andy, you're going to have to go on a road trip to see Jordan at some point, apparently.
Well, I'm the only one who drives, so it will be me doing it.
Norway had 0 animals allowed until the whitelist. The lifetime support from Jordan makes a massive difference from buying from a breeder/show.
You got her name wrong again.
Who's that? Mad
Nicola.
Max? Nicola? What is it?
You said Critters dead. You didn't call her Nicola. You went with something else. You got a real habit of calling her something else,
Oh,
and
I
she's
don't
called you
know.
out on it publicly now.
Again? I did call you Nicola. Oh, I'll be all right. Don't get away with it.
That's fine. She's
Lewis,
upstairs.
sorry, I'm jumping
safe.
between work and this, but can I just say how welcome Jord was when I came to his shop? Awesome, knowledgeable guy. Angela, I love having reptile weirdos at my house. Only the reptile weirdos we know. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so I just think, as a community, we need to do better. We need to stand united, because it isn't going to be too long before it is on... Well, it is on our shores, isn't it? It is on our shores. Kando says, hello, I can't get chat working on YouTube. Natalie. No, I was just talking to another Natalie. So, moving on from that, one of the other gripes that I've picked up on that you absolutely love is misinformation. I love how you love it.
Yeah.
So one of the posts that we spoke about just before we came live as well was the cohabbing post, how it's possible
You said Natalie.
Yeah, I was talking to... No, I don't know. I don't know. The misinformation in, the cohabbing. So the post in question was the Argentinian tegu, the 2 American corns, and... a
couple of ball pythons.
Two royals,
yeah. So, that's obviously very achievable and doable. I did say lizard killer.
Well,
sorry,
lizard
liker. Yeah, clearly they were fine. We couldn't see the hog. We couldn't see the corns, but yeah, and it's impressive that nothing had been munched.
Yeah, I think cohabitation is one of those really contentious points. I love it when customers say, "Can I keep 2?" Because we have to just say the short answer is no. Because I haven't got time to go through it with you why you can't have 2 of them in that size tag. I cohab stuff. I'll tell the internet. I don't care. I cohab corns. I cohab royals. I have even many years ago. I had a long-term cohabbing pair of Cali Kings. Don't do
You're
it.
a brave man. You are
Not a good idea.
There is no way I'd put my Mexican blacks together. No chance.
I've never done it with Mexis, but I did. That pair of Callies were together a good 3 years. Bred every year. But don't do it. But yeah, I think Francis Cosgary did a really cool, one of his nice long articles. I like his replies to stuff about cohabbing and sort of the interactions that he sees with animals, and it really got me thinking all the things we'd hidden over the years, like we'd had pairs of corns together for years, or 2 females together or whatever, and thinking, yeah, they do that, what he's just said there. And strange things like when people say, oh, they're in the same hide, so they're definitely competing for resources. What? No, I don't buy that. And because it doesn't make sense. Because if you provide several hides in the same area, corns in particular, generally pick the same one. And I don't mean they love company, because they don't. But there's definitely some more kind of interaction with cohabiting than initially meets the eye kind of thing. We still get people blasting us. My breeding group of leopard geckos live together for breeding season. And people go, oh, well, we can't keep them together. It's like, you can't. But I have to if I want to make more. That's how breeding works.
But something we touched on earlier, Jordan, before we went live with this. If you do your research and you've got your space, anything is achievable as long as you walk into it with an open mind and you look at what is required.
Yeah. I think it's when you see a single animal setup with 2 animals in it. That's where
4x2x2 with 2 bearded dragons.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We've all seen that more than anything else on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I definitely cohab more snakes than I do lizards as well. Yeah, I think I definitely cohab more snakes than lizards.
I've got a pair of tokays that are cohab, male and female.
Yeah.
And they decide what they're doing. They're not together for me to breed. They come as a pair, and I will get 6, 8 pairs of eggs off them, no issue, and then they stop.
Yeah,
Like, and she's fine. Calcium wise, she's fine. She's healthy in weight. She's not suffering in any way, but she just stops. And I think a lot of it's to do with seasonal timings of lights and stuff as well.
Yeah,
it's not just my lights aren't on 12:12. That they are set to come on an hour after sunrise and they go off an hour before sunset. And there's so much more to it nowadays. And it's not just yes. If someone was to say to me, "Oh, can I get them and keep them together?" I'd be like, "No chance, absolutely not," because you can't just give that answer, like you said, instantly straight away. And it was I can't remember if it was Angela or Donna. One of them asked me to actually ask you about cohabbing. They wanted us to bring it up like week 2 or something. I was like, let's get our feet under the table first, find out what we can say and what we can't say. And then it was like, look, Jordan's coming on, and Jordan's definitely one that we can ask about cohabbing and actually have the right answers from the right person, rather than Pete and Mac and Andy going, yeah, we can do that. No, I would rather.
I don't even think it's a case of right answers with cohabbing. I think it's more that you could, well, like you said, you can make anything work if you set it up to work. So my pair of Tokers and their many children are in a 424, the new Beta Terra tanks, those big Mac-off glass things.
Oh, bloody hell, they're huge.
Oh, they're so good. Get one. Just get one.
I want one, but I've got nowhere to put one.
No. Details. So we got that, and it's fully planted and it's cork tubes and stuff. And there's actually a trio in there now. And the original girl, she stopped laying in November, like you said, and she's just laid her first clutch this week since the first week of November. And we had 6 clutches last year. And then she just went, nope, not doing it. And weirdly, when she stopped laying, the male spent more time out of the tube as well. It's like, over that. But yeah, we did it in such a big enclosure because we want to leave the babies in there. And that's working really well so far. There's 3 babies in there with them. But we had a really weird thing just before Christmas where 2 clutches unglued and were just on the substrate.
You had that.
Literally the same thing. Honestly, like they're all in there, and I've got 2 that are glued to the back, and I had 3 that was glued to some kind of root, wood, whatever. And I come again in the substrate.
Yeah.
Literally, that is so weird.
He's determined now.
Honestly. Like, because I was talking to Andy, I was like, no way. So to hear that, I'm like super impressed. It's not just me. Yeah.
And when we looked on the back, I don't know if you've seen it on yours, the glue's a different colour. Like it's discoloured. But
so investigate.
Yeah. Let's just stop this for a second while he checks these eggs.
Well, it's not white, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it's brought whatever it was stuck to with it, rather than staying put. But the 2 recent hatchlings this week were those eggs. So it hasn't affected them at all. But yeah, it was really weird. And then these new ones are stuck. So we'll see. But yeah, so we'd set that tank up so that the babies can stay in there. And we obviously then had to accommodate more animals sort of thing. But it's like, if we wanted to do, say, like permanent pairs of, well, actually, we'll use your example of agamas. So we've got star agamas in stock at the minute. And if we decided to keep a pair of them, it wouldn't be a 48 B18 B18 or a 48 B24 B24. It'd be something bigger to almost double the space to then allow for more stuff, basically.
Like I said with mine, they're in a 622. So what is that? Oh, God, I put myself 72?
Yeah, it's 24.
Yeah, 72, 24, 24. And they spend more of their time together through their choice, but they have the space and the options to get away from each other. Yeah. But she tends to sit on him, or he'll sit on her, and when one's basking, the other will go over and join.
Yeah.
And it's behaviours that you wouldn't see normally.
Yeah.
And if I could, I'd one day I'd love to set up sort of a 18, 24 foot by 6 by 6 and have 4 or 5 beardies in there. but set it up so they've got the space to get away.
Yeah.
Because everyone goes, oh, you shouldn't do it. But if you can set it up so you had your basking spot on the train across the top, so it started on the left and it started lower and it got heavier as it went across, and it like a sunrise to sunset.
Yeah.
I reckon you'd learn more about a beardie in captivity that way than you ever could imagine. But again, it's having the space and the time to do it.
Yeah. I think the whole, when people talk about cohabiting beardies, we're talking about bigger space. Beardies can be 2 feet long, so it's not 422 becomes 522. Really, you're talking about big spaces. Yeah, and I've cohabbed beardies. I know, it's the worst thing ever.
But then again, everyone did, 10, 15 years ago? No one questioned it.
I've never had aggression with beardies. I've had rampant males that need a break, kind of thing. But these people that say, cohabbing and stuff is terrible, you think, how do you think we make more of them? Because it's not always done and dusted in 30 seconds and then he wants to kill her instantly. It's
Mr. Stork. It's Mr. Stork.
Little spiky bearded stork.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you just think we've had males that have taken a couple of weeks to get round to it, or have just needed a bit of an oomph kind of thing. And you think it's not quite as black and white. But I think that's the thing with everything in reptile keeping. It's just never black and white. And then I think when any area of it starts to sound a bit black and white, I think it's because we're just getting rid of the nuance, or we're getting rid of any kind of extra detail or thought beyond, I was told this is what I must do, this is what I will do. And then we kind of lose the art of reptile keeping rather than the I read it in a book kind of version of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was something I quite enjoyed with the chat we had the other week with Tom, because he's looking at it from a wild perspective now.
Yeah.
And it's like where he touched on the difference between how we keep gargs to how they are in the wild.
Yeah.
And it's all those little bits and pieces as well with it that you've got a base set up, and you go online and you find a base care guide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something you've probably seen that we mentioned. It's something we want to tip into later on, is get people thinking more about the care guides. Mm-hmm. But if you look up how an animal is kept through a care guide, that's how you keep it. 90% of the population will go, well, it says that online, that's how I do it.
Yeah.
They don't start going, well, like Jordan from JSL Chameleon mentioned, look at the weather patterns.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. And then you can start doing the more cohabbing because you're providing what the species requires.
Yeah. I think cycling is definitely a factor. So whenever we've had like our breeding calls, if we house a pair together, we'll generally cycle them together as well, because then the male's suddenly not interested anymore and they all just want to go to sleep and they're not eating and they spend a couple of months in the dark, in the cold. And you think, well, he's not going to mate with her at 9 degrees in the cellar, is he?
No.
And I think that's it. It's like when you've got animals that have a set breeding season, if you recreate the breeding season, you get all that hyped up energy out the way in a few weeks and you can go absolutely mental. And then they all come down from the stress and life goes on like it's normal. Yeah. But this year-round constant warmth, the animals just sort of go, well, it's summer, we should probably be getting pregnant. And I think that's a big thing with beardies. I think because no one cycles beardies, I think letting a male actually have a breeding season would probably reduce that constant nipping and pulling and, head bobbing and everything. And it would keep it in that initial burst of heat. But what do I know?
Chris from M.A.D Exotics, that's who I mentioned earlier when I said we were going to touch on cohab, and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong with cohabbing?" He's just come in and said he cohabs most of his rat snakes. They breed when they want, and they always align with natural timings. So again, it's that natural cycling. And it's, I don't think we see that enough. I've now took to switching all my heat off in the reptile room at night, so everything comes off. So they have that. And don't get me wrong, like I come in the morning, it's still 20 degrees. It's not it's not going to like 5 and 6 degrees. It's still at a very warm ambient, but they're not sat at that temperature. And
the other thing I touched on was cycling. We got the technology now. So for a long time, it was you had an on-off stat. or you had a dimming stat and you set it to that temperature analogically, and you had to have it on a 12-hour timer. A lot of the new stuff, I mean, the microclimate Evo Connect stuff, the new Habitat stuff, you can set seasons through them.
Yeah.
And then you can have it switching around. So then you can have your autumn, winter, spring, summer. And then, but the other thing is people don't touch a lot with like the arid species is wet seasons.
Yes.
So they go through a month or two where it is waterlogged to hell.
Yeah.
They're not going to get an RI just because the humidity is a bit high for a few weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
really bad at the minute with my pancake tortoises. I've just finished a month of spraying them, keeping them humid, overfeeding them.
Yeah.
And I'm about to give them a month of bone dry, very little food, and then we're going to try and get them to breed because now and February in Kenya is dry season. So why not try it?
we went to Crocodiles of the World for my daughter's birthday a few years ago. She did a junior keeper experience. I can't remember which species of crocodile they had, but they had them in March, cooling for brumation or hibernation, whatever they want to call it for the crocodilians, down to 2 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, can believe that.
And,
it's mad what reptiles can do.
Yeah, and a lot of people overlook this side of it all. That cycling is so important to everything, and you can cohab and you can get a healthier animal, and there's so many more things you can do with cycling. The only reason people don't cycle is because they're selfish and they want to see the animal all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Yeah,
one of the eye openers for me was when I joined the European group, completely different to RS UK. And there's quite a few people in there who keep European species outside in like quartz lined greenhouses.
Yeah.
Some of the setups are incredibly beautiful. And then we picked up a stowaway from the Caterpillar Centre in Leicestershire, and I sought advice from them. And it's Rob Pilley, and he's like, "Yeah, don't keep that in your house. Put it outside." And I was like, "Mate, it's like 16 degrees." He's like, yeah, you shouldn't see that at this time of year. That should be gone.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I mentioned earlier, he's outside. He's in a rub, which is full of clay, sand, soiled a lot, and I haven't seen him. And I'm like, look, I'm getting really worried about this. And he's like, yeah, you won't see him. And I'm like, all right, I'll take your word for it. And it's like, Rob's one of the people I want to get on to talk about this as well. But like, just joining RS UK and the European group has opened my eyes up so much to the information that is out there. And I don't think it's that side of it isn't gatekeeping. I think it's I can't think of the word. It'll come to me in a second. People are oblivious to the right information when they are closed minded to getting their information from one place. And it was, it's on the tip of my tongue, the word I'm looking for, and I can't think. But it's like, there's so much more that I've learned in the last 10 to 12 months being in the RS UK and speaking to other people with other species and stuff. It's really cool. And
actually, something I want to touch on there. You're saying about closed to one source of information. We go through our whole school lives being told, you find it in this book, you learn it from that book. That's a textbook you have to have. I mean, now it's not as bad for the kids because they have access to the internet. But I mean, I remember when I was at school, we didn't have those resources as much. It was just starting to come in. So it was the textbook your teachers told you had to have. The textbook the school gave you was where everything had to come from. So my generation, my parents' generation, it's always been, this is how it is, and that is how it has to be. And people haven't always approached it with the, well, you know, let's question it. It's always been, right, we'll do as we're told. I mean, you find a lot of the keepers that I've noticed that are quite interested in making changes are people who work in trades, where there's no one set way of solving a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas you find the keepers that do it like that, to the button, to the book. And I don't want to be nasty to anyone, but they work in very office-based jobs that are, this is how it is every day. You go on your lunch at 12, you can go to the toilet at this time. Your smoke break is only allowed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, procedural.
Yeah, very good. That's the word.
Many years ago when we worked in Leeds, we used to sort of make the joke. We had quite a few customers that were doctors that lived in like quite an affluent part of Leeds, and they were always the worst people to deal with because they were used to being told yes and being told exactly how to do something, and then when that something didn't work, it was our fault, not theirs, because they'd read it wrong or whatever. But they were just so, we need it step by step by step, word by word. And then if it didn't work, it was our fault for telling them wrong rather than them misunderstanding it, because they were just so in this strange mindset of, well, if I'm doing it, I'm clearly doing it right. It's got to be you. Really odd, really odd. Doctors and electricians. Electricians are always the hardest to explain thermostats to because they want to fiddle.
Yeah. The thing is, I've started modifying light fittings and cables now to suit what I want. I'm getting quite bad with this at the moment.
Yeah.
So my Faunalux TrueChroma is wired into an Arcadia link cable into my T5 unit, so I don't have to have another wire running in there.
Like it.
Please do not
works.
listen to Andy and go and copy him and start opening light sockets and stuff. Please do not.
He'll be telling you to put Cali Kings together next.
No, do not listen to Andy. Do not listen to Andy.
But the point I'm making is, if you look into things like that, there are ways around things.
Yeah.
It's not always that's for just this. Yeah. But then again, that's the industry I work in. I get given a bolt, and that bolt can go into 100 different things.
Yeah.
I get given a wire. Well, how can I make that work on this to get that back on the road so I haven't got to worry about it again today?
Yeah.
It's finding ways around. It's just how I work. And yeah, as Matt said, don't copy what I do, because if you have a fire, it's not my fault. But I will experiment with things.
Just been a bit mindful of the time. We don't want to keep you too much, but there's just a couple more things that I want to touch on. So one of the next things is the social media.
My legs got to sleep.
No worries. Is your social media campaign for the Shellions?
Yeah.
So that's something that's big and upcoming, and I think it deserves a good conversation.
Yeah, it's either gonna inspire a change, or it's gonna cause an absolute shitstorm.
Which will inspire a change.
True.
No matter what, you're gonna get people thinking.
True. I mean, the response so far. So basically, we launched it a week ago, not even a week ago. We were going to hang on, but the import of tortoises just before Christmas have already kind of started rolling out. So we're like, well, if we wait any longer, the next round are already going to be in, and that's then 2 lots of tortoises to kind of keep up with. I think it always sounds a bit weird because I've always been really, really strict about tortoise care. I did it wrong for many years in my early job, and then started bit by bit going, Jesus, are we really doing this that badly? And then we stopped selling them. Maybe 2013, something like that. Because we'd changed how we were doing it, but no one else around us had, sort of thing. So we were sort of like fixing a lot of these tortoises, but people were coming in with very odd preconceptions about how their tortoises could live. So we sort of tapped out and just went, look, we're not being part of that problem. And that went on for years. And when I opened in 2018, I stuck to it and was like, no, we're not selling tortoises. And then I think I got them in 1 year. I got like 3. I was like, we'll dip a toe. We'll see how bad this gets.
That's dangerous.
And it was awful. Within weeks of having them, I'd spoken to dozens of people that just thought they were cute as anything, lived on tomatoes, do what you want with them. And then that pushed me even more then to keep researching. And I have a habit that if I want to learn something, I want to learn all of it. I don't want to know the basics. I need to know all of it, insides, outsides. And I did that with tortoises many years ago. But I continued not selling them and continued just fixing the odd one that came through the shop. And last year, we got really busy. Like summer through to now has been our best period since we opened, and it's been fantastic. But with it has come this army of local tortoise keepers that had been just lied to, and it was just like, what is this information? And it wasn't even things we'd heard before. Some of it was just like, can you repeat that again for me, please?
You need to write a book.
Yeah. And so we my friends at Jaws and Claws, they breed redfoot tortoises. I'll stock UK captive bred when they're available. I have no issue with that. I'm not a fan of the imports, and that is another conversation. But I think with all the UK breeders of tortoises now, the importing of European bred tortoises just seems a bit of a pointless task. And the sheer numbers involved as well is not good. So we stocked the redfoot and we did bits and pieces. And then I decided that, right, if we're going to stock UK captive bred, we will make UK captive bred. So I got myself a pair of Hermans from Alex down at House of Venom, and I got my box turtles from Dudley. We then had a very, very quick string of bad tortoise advice, and turtles as well, really, really, really bad aquatic turtles. One of them died shortly after I came off the phone trying to fix it. It was already septic, like its legs were bright pink, its belly was bright pink, and this thing had lived like this for years. And they were doing exactly what they'd been told, which actually links quite well to what we were just saying. And we find that a lot with aquatic turtles is they follow to the letter everything they've been told, but sadly that's where the problem starts. So I'd sort of toyed with the idea of trying to get a change from within the trade, because there's so much against the trade. Like, you know, the RSPCA don't overly like us that much. The APA think we're all terrible people. There's anti-pet keeping groups all over the place, kind of thing. And all this pressure from the outside just makes us seem a little bit more resistant to change. But when you look at what Reptile did last year, was it last year? Chaz is going to kill me.
Chaz will let us know.
Yeah. So when they did the giant species guide, and it was reasonable. It wasn't like you've got to have a 46-foot enclosure for your 6-foot common boa. It was, this calculation gives you a guide of how to house large snakes, and it also touched on large tortoises. That was readily accepted across the trade, not just because it was Reptile, but because it made sense, and it was quite simple and quite reasonable. It wasn't some, you must change everything tomorrow. And it sort of got me thinking, like, well, if they're more accepting from within, then maybe we start rolling that out. My issue is that I'm too passionate about things with shells. So I have to, the way I word things has to be edited several times before it can be posted anywhere.
Do you have a proofreader?
Yeah, it's me.
So you proofread and go, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, I do make people run. Like, just read that. Does it sound like I'm having a go? It's been really well received so far. The idea of it isn't to sort of go, you're all terrible, because they're not. There are some really, really good shops that sell tortoises really, really well. Probably the closest one to our area is Daniel at M.A.D Exotics. All his tortoises in store are fed forage weeds, and I don't even go to that level. I grow my weeds because I can't be bothered walking outside. But Daniel actually forages his food, and I always just think that is such a nice touch, and they're all sold that way. They're all sold with good set, and I think, cool, someone else local's doing it. So the idea of it really is that there'll be sort of resources that come as package. And like I say, because we launched earlier than planned, none of this has happened yet. It's all kind of ball rolling. Kind of like a booklet that will be given to shops that they can then photocopy, hand out to customers, and it'll be like quick diet guides, hibernation guides, resources on the internet to look at, but kind of hinting at the whole pinch of salt kind of thing when it comes to the militant tortoise keepers. And sort of recommended enclosure size, how to calculate it, rather than your Herman's tortoise must have a 6x4 with one 100-watt basking lamp and a T5 UV, because that doesn't work. We tried that, it doesn't work. But having an easy guide to follow, so if they're selling a 2.5-inch hatchling, sell it in a 3-foot table if you want. Just make sure it's not got an 160-watt mercury vapor blasting through the middle of it. See that face? That face.
I'll probably get shot by my missus for this, but there was an Exoterra one that was launched a year or two ago that was aimed at tortoise tables. And they put it over a tortoise, and then they took the UVI at the distance recommended, and it was nearly a 46 UVI.
Yeah.
And that was recommended at, say, 12 inches from the back of the tortoise. And now she'll have a go at me for knocking someone when they're not here to defend themselves. But the reality is, a company that size shouldn't put a product on the market like that.
No. And I think
I made the mistake of mercury vapor bulb for my Northern Diamondback. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They're a strange bulb. I honestly don't see the point in them anymore. I think even the better brands, the bulbs still don't really do what we need them to do, or at least they don't do it consistently.
They're better. They are better.
Yeah. Like the Arcadia lamps produce good light. The problem is they don't all produce the same light. Whereas their T5s, you go, right, that makes that. And I can sell that much easier. I have a solar meter, so I can stick a mercury vapor on and play with it and go, well, it's not what it said, but I know what it's doing. And I think that's sort of what's got lost. There's this very one-size-fits-all that exists with the tortoise groups that then sort of feeds this one-size-fits-all shop kind of selling, and pre-made kits. I just cannot get behind them. So this kind of booklet would have like all that in that they can then photocopy and give out to customers and all that kind of thing. It would be lovely to get wholesalers on board with this, but
they're not. The reality is, it's going to damage sales for them.
It could actually increase sales if you think about it, because you're selling a 3-foot.
Because the products they need to sell make the setup dearer. But if the products they need to sell come as a discounted bundle, like the crap that's already available, and shops that want to do it right will do it right, and bit by bit by bit, the advocacy groups that say the shops are terrible and they all do it wrong and no shop will ever tell you the right information will be demonstrably wrong. And that means that they can't make those claims anymore. We feed into tortoise lunatics, basically. The more we close off to outside influence from people like the Trust and the Tortoise Protection Group and all these wonderful organisations that really just alienate people from the trade. If you tell them you bought it at the pet shop, they'll go, well, everything will be wrong. And a few times I've stepped in and gone, well, actually, that setup's not that bad. They've got a T5, fine, yeah, might have a substrate I don't like, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. Whereas you get the ones where it's got like a coil UV and a heat mat on the roof. Yeah, they were wrong. But this attitude that shops are always wrong from people who aren't actually as right as they think they are, because they don't, the products that we sell, we understand. We get information about them. We have the Reptile lighting group. So when a new UV comes out, we go, please tell us if it does what the box says. And then all this wonderful testing comes out. We understand these products so we can sell them for certain applications. So, if you've got a lower slung arm on your tortoise table, you can use a 6% for a Herman's tortoise. But if you go on the groups, you'll be told 12%, 100-watt basking lamp mounted at this distance, which means nothing if your house is freezing or red hot, or you've got a different model tortoise table that's got a different arm on it. That's the bit that's kind of lost on both sides, is this constant black and white, this is how you do it, and the other side is definitely wrong kind of thing. And it just ends up where people get so confused. The tortoises continue to be kept badly because they either get eaten alive on the internet or they never visit their shop again because they feel like they've been lied to. So it needs to stop. So the idea is to try and just close that gap a little bit. I know for a fact, like, the trust will never get behind it. I've given up on that side of it because no matter what we do, I don't think it'll be enough to undo many, many decades of kind of legitimate bad care.
You might be wrong there.
Yeah,
because
and it'd be nice.
As fresh blood comes through these places, attitudes will change.
True. Very true.
The thing is, a lot of it is old dog, new trick stuff. And it's not going to change on that front. But as a lot of the older generations step back and the younger generations come through, things will start to make a difference in a lot of these trusts and these organisations that way.
Yeah.
And it's the only way it's going to happen.
I understand where their hard stance comes from, because having lived through the earlier years of this, kind of gone, yeah, that was pretty bad. But it's a very kind of, well, it's just negative, really. And I think, like I say, if we can get people selling and kind of advising to a more up-to-date kind of standard, like we know about tortoise diets now, we know about brumation, we know about right lighting, and I always say this about it. It's like, if I did to a beardie what some shops do when they're selling tortoises, I would be demonised on the internet, and rightly so. But it's seen as such a norm when you were selling tortoises. It's a weird mentality, and sort of going back through like old articles and old kind of like CITES info and stuff, nothing's changed in 10, 15, 20 years. The same issues exist and they still seem to just roll over and roll over. So I kind of figured if we approach it from within the trade and then try and do it as, look, I do this as well, I'm not telling you to do it, and then me go and do what I want. It is very much, this is what we do, and we find that this is more concordant with what they're advising from wild studies and things like that, rather than going, well, this care sheet said, sort of thing. So yeah, that's the idea of it. And turtles, I'm hoping that we can possibly get OATA to sort of take a glance at it as well, because aquatic turtle care is, yeah, it's dark. And again, it starts in the trade. It's that, like you said earlier, it's where that first point of contact someone has when they want little Timmy's baby tortoise, and they walk it, or baby turtle, and they walk in, get sold a 2-foot tank with no UV, no light. The turtle doesn't do well, and then they never go to that shop again. But then they find the internet and they're told all shops are bad. So they then go on Amazon and buy those wonderful UV lamps, the combo bloody things for $5. And then they end up killing the next turtle because the light melted its face off. And it just becomes this cycle of kind of, you can't win because both sides are saying the other's wrong, or both sides are just confusing people or alienating people. There needs to be kind of a bit more unity with kind of info, not just selling it, but telling it as well. That kind of, when someone comes in and asks about a tortoise, don't go, they're dead easy, you can feed them this, it's that bit needs to stop. There needs to be a bit more honesty, I think, to it, because they're not easy pets. They're a lifestyle, and I've got 6, so my life's gone now.
But I guess at the same time also with this, if you can make it work for tortoises and turtles, there's hope for other things as well down the line.
I agree.
Because the most damaging thing I find with a lot of it is Facebook groups. And I'll be honest and brutal about it. You've got people in there who run the groups. I've been keeping them this way for 30 years. And you're the reason we have these problems.
These are the worst things ever. Keyboards. Because everyone sits behind them. Everyone sits behind them.
Something I was watching earlier, and I can't remember who said it. Being behind a screen makes everyone feel invincible. Would you say half the shit you say on the computer to someone in the face? 9 times out of 10 people go, no, I wouldn't talk to them.
Yeah.
No, and it's, people are too easily offended as well. If you're down the pub,
I've not found my offended button yet.
If you are down a pub and somebody's talking shit that you don't want to listen to, you turn your back and talk to the next guy. Yeah. And you don't think nothing of it, right? But if I don't answer a text, or I don't answer this, or I don't answer that, or you don't understand how I've written something, it's just hell on earth. And
Yeah.
we need, and again, we're bringing back to that building bridges. We're building back to putting faces to names. And we don't just want to have like keepers and breeders. We want to show the whole hobby is for what it is, the whole industry. You know, we
also, we
said
want to protect shops. I'm going to make that very clear now. Because at the end of the day, the shops don't exist, the hobby won't exist. Yeah, you can buy it online. But why would I go and buy something from online that I need now? So if I need a light because my bulb's blown, and I know I can go to the shop and buy one, I will go and do that. I mean, the only one that I have that I can't buy off the shelf anywhere at the moment is the RS Gold infrared lamp. Bulbs. Yeah. But I would rather drive 45 minutes to Exotics at Heart, which is my local reptile shop. There is one more local, but personally, I don't find what they've got there suits me. So I'd rather go over there and see Kev and get what I need from him.
Yeah.
I could buy it on Internet Reptile, and I could probably get it for a fraction, well, not a fraction of the price, but say 10% less delivered to my door. But if there's a problem with that, I've then got to send it back.
Yeah.
And it's all those little bits as well with shops. It's you get the advice. Okay, like we say, some shops give great advice, some shops give questionable advice, but it's still advice nonetheless.
Yeah.
If you're in a real turmoil, you've got someone you can talk to.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, having someone to talk to is more important to getting someone out of the stress than it is solving the problem. If someone's stressing, they'll never address the problem and solve it. Whereas if they can calm down, then they can look into it and do it properly.
Yeah.
And a lot of shops provide that shoulder to people as well. And you do get idiots come through the shop doors. I've been there when it's happened. I was at a shop and someone turned up with a load of royals for them. And he said, okay, yeah, put them over there. They'd sorted the deal out. And he just went, you know what, I'm just going to check them. I'm going to take 2 minutes out of this. And they were riddled with mites. Someone had brought over 15 royals, and you could see them crawling on the tubs. That's not an accident. You could bring you you could go into a reptile shop with a snake that you're taking in to sell. You don't know you've got mites. It's just eggs on it. That mistake could happen. But then off the back of that, I mentioned it, and then someone went back to him saying, oh, Andy's got mites. It's like, oh, why are we doing this? Why are we sabotaging each other? If you've got a problem with it, mention it to me. And then, because I didn't phone him to tell him when I found one, because it was Monday and it was his day off. My idea was, I'll leave you alone with your day off, then I'll mention it to you on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like any decent person should.
I think there's a major community aspect to shops, and I think in the sort of early 2000s when reptile keeping sort of really seemed to be on the up, I think shops were where you went. You met people, well, Chaz, you met people that you ended up knowing for years, or people who ended up keeping something and you heard about it, and then years down the line you think, I can actually keep that now. And it turns out it's because they were breeding it already. And you have this network of people that you may not know directly, but you all nip in for your bugs, or you meet each other. I now have, on a Saturday, there's a group of customers that all come at the same time because they know they'll all be there, and they all just chat. So if I'm serving, they're not bored, they just chat with each other, sort of thing. Yeah. And it's nice. It's nice to have known people 15 years. The sad thing is when people bring their kids in and tell me that they're starting uni. And I think, I sold you a set when you were 8. You were not having this.
Yeah. I'm just going to touch on something in the chat quickly from Lizard Liker. Yeah, a lot of groups do get accused of bullying on the old Facebook, but there are specific people within a lot of these groups who will intentionally go out of their way to make someone uncomfortable rather than solve a problem that's going on.
Yeah. I think, with you saying as well about it all coming together as kind of trade and keeper and all that, with this Tortoise initiative, so a customer asked me earlier about it and saying oh, so is it just for the trade? No. The idea of it being public is so that what's happening in the trade is visible. Because if it all happens behind the scenes, you've no idea that the trade's working hard to improve, or that the trade's working hard for animal welfare. But if that improvement is then public, and very transparent, it then means that keepers can go, well, yeah, the trade is like with the Reptigiant thing. People saw us share that and went, fair play. That needed addressing, and the trade looked at it and went, that's something we can do. And I think it's the same for this. It's that kind of visible change seems to really build trust with the wider community then. So then they do feel like they can pop in and have a chat about an animal they're breeding or an animal they might want to buy. And then it sort of, again, bridges that gap where it's like, oh, we saw your post and, we know this is changing. Cool, come in, chat. And like I said, like earlier, I'm an open book anyway. Like, customers come in here and they always say, I'm going to ask a stupid question. Highly doubt that in the shop. But people are so much more willing to discuss things if you're just open about it. And I think that counts for keeper and trade, is that if you can just talk openly about what you're doing, why you do things in a certain way, everyone ends up learning. So it just becomes win-win. But
no, exactly. It's an interesting world, this hobby.
I just want to catch up with chat. There's quite a lot that's gone on. So I don't know how he's managed it, but Chaz has somehow managed to completely avoid YouTube chat but appear on screen. He doesn't know how he's done it because technology is the bane of his life. But several of us noticed Chaz appearing. So we've got a chat screen that goes out live with the video, because if you're not watching the video live, you don't get to see the chat later on. So we wanted the chat involved just in case there was a conversation that was going on. So somehow Chaz has managed to completely ignore the YouTube chat but appear on screen. So several have noticed that. So there's messages from Chaz that I've got no idea what he's talking about, or when it was from. So I can go back to always been there for me when I need him, 1000% totally reliable, great guy, sharp as a knife, but do not get on his sharp side and you'll be fine. So I've got no idea who he's talking about.
I'm guessing Jordan.
I don't know, there was a few names mentioned, so it could be anyone. Yaz and House of Bugs. At that point. Yeah, Yaz and House of Bugs have said that the initiative will be successful, and if it's not, you're going to get slapped.
Was that from House of Bugs?
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was. It was. I imagine it was for... yeah. Nicola has asked how old you are, because you look very young.
35. I shouldn't have needed thought, but yeah.
No. You are the baby here today.
Chaz says
Matt's the eldest.
I am the eldest.
And I like to remind him.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Chaz says you're at least 50.
But if I'm 50, that makes him
retired, more than retired.
To be fair, with the amount of hours that man puts in, he's probably well past retirement.
So going back to when we were talking about companies and what they're producing, someone said, Citizen Nat said, the part of the conversation sounds so swell. So I imagine that's about Swell the supplier.
Yeah. I'm not gonna, yeah.
Yaz says, regarding the initiative, approaching wholesalers is possibly the right way to, they'll consider it. Chris from Hogs Exotic says, older generation sounded very aimed at Mac. And then Shock Loaded says, Mac looks about 12. So I'm actually the eldest here. Look, so I'm happy with that. We'll take that. Honestly, he's the best policy, blah, blah, blah. We literally, Citizen Nat, we literally message Jordan to our stuff every few days. That's what Andy spoke about. Lizard Liker and the groups being accused. Chris is gone. Blah, 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 blah. Is there a Q&A after? So I said we'll see how you're doing for time, because we are getting on. Okay. But if anyone's got a question, throw it in now.
If they're still here at that point.
Yeah, Yaz says that you're a wealth of knowledge for 35 years young, and then Yaz has put 35,000. So I don't know if that's for you or Chaz. So
it better be for Chaz.
Yeah. Best advice ever from Jordan on how to look after my tortoise from Jock68. So we don't know. How old am I? I am 43 this year. I'm the eldest, so that was a question from Shockloader.
It just popped up on my screen. I just seen it as you answered it.
So, some final advice and signing off. What's one piece of misinformation you wish you could just eradicate from the hobby, the industry, however you want to do it? Is there like a single piece that really gets your blood boiling?
How long have we got?
No, I think if I had to pick one, and it seems to be, it's going, but it's probably the longest standing, is that loose substrate causes impaction. And I think it's worse now because we know better.
Well, you get Lido everywhere. You get Lido and slate everywhere. You know that?
There are fields of the stuff in Australia.
Yeah, that's how we get it for our kitchens. They go and harvest it from the wild.
Yeah. It's it's renewable.
Yeah, sorry. Katie's just asked as well, can you talk about your rescue rehoming part? So something that I did see earlier, so I apologise for that. You did mention to Andy in a chat during this week or last week that it's took over quite a big part now as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it sounds awful. I was never interested in rehoming. It was sort of a weird kind of disconnect where I was like, that happens to other people. Like, you know, we sold animals to a high standard. We very rarely got them back or anything, you know, so it was like, that sort of seemed a bit out of our bubble. And we've always, not so much in the old shops, but like in my shop, we've always had the odd one, but it was never a thing. It was just, we need to rehome our beardie twice a year or something. And we'd noticed quite a lot of sort of other local-ish rescues and stuff like that were sort of filling up and were sending people to us. Even though we didn't do it, people were sort of getting desperate. They couldn't find places to take their animals. So I was like, well, yeah, we can do it. And we'd taken in a couple of bits. And I'd taken in 2 female beardies, and a local rescue that no longer exists had wanted to charge the owner to rehome them, which just seemed really, really weird. And I was like, are you sure you've understood that? And she says, yeah, they wanted to charge me per animal to take them in, and they insisted that I give them my setups for free. And I was like, eh? And she was like, I don't want to use the setups. I want to sell them because I think she was moving house and downsizing. So she was hoping to get rid of the setups, because they were decent setups, to get rid of the setups to then put a couple of £100 into this new smaller house. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And so we took them in, and she was really, really like appreciative, and she was quite emotional. I thought, what a weird situation. And then we'd sort of hear another and hear another. I thought, we're going to have to start doing something. So we opened it up as sort of a, you know, we will take things in. I don't do the rescue thing. I don't call it a rescue. Rescue. It's part of the shop. The shop pays for it. We charge a rehome fee. It's basically fixed across the board. So it's £50 no matter what it is, except for tortoises. Tortoises are 100 because 1, I don't like the idea of them being too cheap. 2, they generally cost me more in quarantine and rehabilitation than the other stuff does. So reasonable to cover costs kind of thing. And within, I think, the first like 6 weeks, we'd taken in like 8 bearded dragons. I was like, where have all these people come from? And then it was like 5 or 6 royals had appeared, and then 3 or 4 corns, and then 3 or 4 live. And suddenly we had about 40% of the shop was rehome animals within a couple of months. I was like, this is getting a bit strange. And then we started getting more kind of rescue type stuff, where it was like, I've found this, or I've taken this off my friend and it's been really badly looked after. I'm quite hard when it comes to like animal death, because breeding, you'll know yourselves, some babies don't make it and all that kind of stuff. But we had a female beardie come in who was so overweight that she died of egg binding. And when you felt underneath, you could feel the eggs were all the wrong way around. So there was just so much fat in there that just twisted, mangled up, and she died. And there was absolutely no reason for that lizard to have died, except for it was kept really badly previously. and it really got to me. And like I say, normally I'm like, right, we'll just, man up, move on. And I just couldn't let it go. And I was like, right, that's it, we're doing this now. And then, now we went through the other day, something like 60% of our enclosures now have rehome animals in them.
Wow.
Touch wood, most of them are just healthy, need somewhere to be, but we've had some crackers. And now I actually couldn't imagine not doing it. It's really strange. I'd never ever gave it a thought before. It was just kind of something that happened elsewhere in the hobby. And now I actually quite enjoy it. It's nice with like the iguana that we've taken it. She's actually going to a new home tomorrow. And she's our biggest success story. I absolutely adore that lizard, and I really didn't want her to leave. I can turn 1,000 watts of heating off tomorrow afternoon.
You're going to watch your electric bill plummet.
Yeah, it will. We took her in, and I spent about 1,500 quid setting her up and food and everything else like that, sorting her out. And I absolutely adore that lizard, and we were gonna keep her, and I was like, you can't keep them all. You cannot start keeping every rescue that tugs a heartstring. So I made the strict rule that unless someone did it as big or bigger and as good or better, she stays. And someone messaged before Christmas, and he was like, I've had iguanas in the past, it's been a long time, what would you recommend? And I was like, well, we have really strict rules. Like, basically, you will never be good enough for this lizard. And he built an enclosure the same size and put exactly the same heating in it. And I was like, So he's coming to get her tomorrow. And he's actually taking one of our baby royal rehomes as well, which is quite cool of him. And I just thought, well, I made the rule, now I've got to kind of suffer the consequences.
I want to touch what you said about that bearding quickly. My first ever reptile was a rescue chameleon. And I made a mistake with the UV lighting, which caused cancer in that animal. Mm-hmm. And when he passed away, I bawled my eyes out. Mm-hmm. It absolutely cut me, because I knew part of why he went was a mistake that I'd made that had done it. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't have a great start. He was a tattoo shop mascot, lived in a really bare enclosure, fed on mealworms. So that's not going to have helped him. But I put a too high a percentage UV over him because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And he ended up having surgery on one of his eyes to remove a cancerous lump. And then about 6 months later, he rolled from it. And that absolutely... I've grown up with agriculture around me as a child. I will happily, if I have to, and I'm not saying I'm happy about this before anyone twists my words, but if a snake comes out deformed or kinked when they hatch, I have no problem with doing what needs to be done, because it's for the welfare of the animal.
Yeah.
I have king snakes for a reason, and it's not just because I like them.
Yeah,
they are brilliant dustbins.
Yeah,
and people need to be more honest about that. But also, when you go back to when you said about you can't keep every single one of them, there was a rescue in Wantage near me. The guy, it was called Lenny's Lizards, and he kept everything. And he had over 700 animals when he had to shut his doors because he couldn't keep up with it.
God. Yeah,
and
no.
He had the best interest at heart, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you can't keep everything.
No.
Because he was trying to work full-time to fund it, doing shows with the animals to fund it.
Mm-hmm.
When he had, I remember the story, he had an albino red iguana that was an adult when he got it, that was found walking down the road in the winter in Abingdon, down the road from us, just walking down the road. Cool. And that's how he came to have that. And it's difficult because you want to do the best for every animal. You put the time in, you care for, you've nursed them back to health. That's my baby now.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you've given that animal the second chance, let it find a nest and have that second chance.
So I'm gonna smile tomorrow when he comes. And
then
after his bottom, I'm gonna go and just
cut some onions. Cut some onions.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think
Sorry, Jordan, go on.
That's right. And I was gonna say it becomes such a thing like with the rescue as well that like we now have like a yearly event to raise money for it as well. Like I never thought I'd fundraise in my life. My friend, she's a really talented baker. She makes cakes and stuff. She pushed me to do it a couple of years ago. She was like, "You are doing this." I was like, "I don't want to. You can't make me," which just made her make me do it more. Yeah, and it's like like old school games like tombolas and hooker duck we had last year, and it's just it's just like a really easy, fun little family day kind of thing, and it's completely light-hearted and stuff. But it did really well the first year, and we're like, oh, so we ended up putting in like new banks of IVs and then we took in more rehomes, and I was like, okay. So she made us do it again last year, and same again. So I was like, right, well, I can now upgrade that thing. So we've sort of it's now set again for July this year. I sort of said, like, we'll keep doing it because it keeps allowing us to just go that bit more, rather than just going, please give us your money so we can make more VIVs. It just makes it a nicer thing. And then people always quite like coming in as well, because usually the rehome animals are visible, so people can see what's actually going on and stuff. And that's become quite a nice thing. So yeah, never thought I'd rehome, never thought I'd fundraise, but such is life. Yeah, I actually quite enjoy it now.
Man.
I think it's testament to what I like, and I never know what to say about the hobby and industry, because they shouldn't be two separate entities to an extent, because we're all here for the same reason. But they are two separate entities because one, you have overheads, etc. But it's testament to that hobby / industry where people are taking control of their surroundings. There aren't many shops that will take in one rehome, let alone what did you say, 60% of your shop?
Something like, yeah.
You know, that's incredible, because if that's also a £50 flat rate adoption fee, rehome fee, well,
you're losing money.
You said 2 minutes ago you spent 1,500 quid setting up an iguana
on the Iggy. Yeah, and we didn't charge a rehome fee on the Iggy. I just wanted to know where she was going.
You know, so, and don't get me wrong, the stock the equipment you're going to be able to reuse for something else, so on and so forth, that isn't lost. But how long have you had her?
6 months, 5 months. I'm trying to think when she came in. Probably about 6 months now.
That's a lot of 1,000-watt electric days.
There's been a lot of food, the greedy mare.
Yeah.
You know, so there are a lot of costs that isn't recoverable, and not only that, if that's 60% of your shop space taken up by rehomes that you're not making a profit on, how are you able to keep the doors open?
I nearly made a joke about something. I won't do it.
It's a serious question, because like that's 40% of animals.
Yeah, we sell some very weird and wonderful reptiles, and we do have quite a big stock list. We also stock an outrageous number of tarantulas. I think we currently have about 200 spiders in stock, and that's us running low. And it's dry goods. We because I enjoy decorating enclosures, my customers enjoy it. So we end up, people get excited when I buy new wood, and it's mostly because I'm excited when I buy new wood. We got some massive driftwoods, and I went mental. So
we got a technical fault.
Yeah, that's not me.
I've noticed that.
That's not me.
It's through your computer, so it is you.
No, it's not. No.
Oh, they're both gone now.
No. Is your camera still on, Jordan? Or
yeah.
It's not moving for me.
No, I can see me frozen as well.
I'm glad you can see me, because I can see Andy. I just can't see Jordan.
Do you want me to turn the camera off and back on?
If you wouldn't try.
Bum, 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 bum.
Definitely not me. Bear with me, let me try this. Nope, because I've got Andy back.
Where did I go?
Uh,
Do you think that's technology's way of telling us to call it a night?
isn't it? Just abrupt, that, isn't it?
That's rude. It's rude.
We do need to mention at some point about the Reptile Keeper, though, Mac, and what we've now got as an offer for everyone.
We do. So, what I want to say firstly is, Jordan, I think that is technology banishing you to the netherworld, as House of Bugs says. So, look, thank you very much for coming on. And I know we are currently 50 minutes over the hour slot. I knew tonight was going to run over.
It's fine.
There was far too much to get through in the 2 hours.
Thank you for having me.
No,
Thank
really.
you for coming. We'll definitely have to do a round 2 at some point.
Yeah. Checking about that mental breakdown about this initiative.
I will quickly
how
ask,
did
I did see it pop up. What date in July have you got at the moment? Have you not got one yet?
We have, let me look, because I don't do dates and things, I get confused. So July is Saturday the 4th.
American Independence Day.
I might take a venture up the country for that. Come and say hi.
I think we might as well. Stuff it. What's the worst?
Go for it. Hook a duck gets real competitive after a while. So.
I can imagine. We can do the live on the Friday night, and then we can all trek up. Or we could trek up on the Friday night and do the live from up there.
The old Boots family's up that way, so I will make a visit up there and say, "Oh, look at that! We've got to go. We've got somewhere to be." Sounds like sounds like a plan. Go see the Outlaws and say sorry. Got somewhere to be. But Jordan, once again, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Thank you very much for having me on. And I'm going to shoot off because I've got to go and drop a tegu back off at its house. But
hopefully not with 2 royals and 2 corns.
No, that's what's waiting for it.
Oh, okay, fantastic, fantastic.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Jordan.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
And yourself, Jordan. I'll catch up with you soon, buddy.
Nice one. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jordan. Thank you very much. I'm hoping we can now switch over to this one to... no, not at all. We should be able to switch over to that, but I don't know why. I think, is it because... I had all this sorted earlier. Nobody would believe me.
No, we won't. Blame Mac. Right, we need to do our quick Reptile Keeper announcement that we now have a discount code.
It's just getting worse.
What have you done now?
No, right, listen, we are proud to announce that the Reptile Keeper has joined us as an official sponsor, and the Reptile Keeper... no, that's an old one. What is going on?
Oh, my God.
Play Mac. Listen, I've got 80 viewers to make this mess with, so...
It's the worst number you've had so far for it. Well, the best number, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's the best number. Oh my God, #blame Mac. So we've got sponsors, Andy. Tell them about the sponsors while I find this.
We've got the Reptile Keeper sponsoring us. Fantastic piece of kit. And we are going to be looking at doing a special webisodes on the use of the web app at some point for you guys. There's a lot to look at and a lot to go through. But we're also able to now offer a discount on membership. With discount code M.A.D Exotics 20, it will give you 20% off a month for a 12-month spell. Obviously, instead of paying $7.99 a month, it works out as about $6.20, $6.40. I'm not good at the maths bit here. Yeah. So yeah, that's that sponsor, and it's all in the description because Max should have done his job properly.
Well, we are sponsored, and we have affiliate links. This content includes affiliate links and discount codes. If you choose to purchase through these links or use our codes, we may receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. This helps support the channel and the work we do, and we're genuinely grateful for support. All affiliate promotions are disclosed in accordance with the UK ASCAP code guidelines. Just to confirm, with the Reptile Keeper code, we actually don't get anything on that. We've had we've had our sponsorship for this, so that is a 100%, not 100% in savings, but all the money that is saved is directly your money, nothing to do with us. So that 20% saved is yours. The live stream also contains paid sponsorships and advertising. We're proud to be working with the Reptile Keeper, reptilekeeper.com, a dedicated reptile husbandry and tracking platform built to support keepers and breeders. The tools help manage feeding schedules, sheds, weights, health records, lighting reminders, and breeding data all in one place, supporting better organisation and animal welfare. We're also affiliated with Faunalux, a UK-based company specialising in scientifically developed reptile lighting. Their TrueChroma LED systems are engineered to better replicate natural sunlight, including broader visible light and proportional UVA, supporting natural animal vision, enriched environments, and improved welfare for reptiles and exotic species. I don't know how I lost that. I did it. I don't know how I lost it. Listen, there's 18 people still here, and I would love to continue talking reptiles and all kinds of nonsense. I'll give you all 2 minutes quickly to ask any questions that anyone's got. If not, I'm off. I need a cup of tea.
And I'll be going too, because he controls it.
Yeah, I do. That is so true. No, I don't know.
You see, it can't ever be blame Andy, because all the technology is run by Mac.
I did lose 8 viewers, and
what from the whole mess up?
The interest in bloke's gone though. It's just 2 clowns now.
Yeah, no one wants to ask us questions.
I mean,
I will say we got Adam from Micro Exotics next week, so that'll be another interesting one.
It will be, yeah. What's my skincare, Mac? Can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. I drink the tears of my child.
Avoiding comment. Avoiding comment. Avoiding comment.
I had to keep it quite PC. Listen, the viewers are going. I'm going. I've had a great night. Jordan was a great guest, and I'm sure it won't be the first time we see him and hear from him. Everyone, please press like and subscribe or do something. Leave a comment, click something, do something.
Share us to the world.
Hope everyone had a good night, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.
Catch you later.